Now the bass, let's hear it first. It's an electric bass, so it was very well recorded. It was a very rich sound. I think that it's something that it's easier to manage with this busy mix. So something like the bass is something that will enjoy very much the console emulation and probably on the S-type, which is the warm one. We want the warm sound of the emulation in this case. So I'm going to use that. You can hear the difference. And the additional, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a compressor, but this is a very special compressor, the one that we're using, which is excellent for bass guitars. Okay, so I'm going to insert the module and I'm going to add the purpose of the bass is it has to be heard all the time without interfering, of course, with something else. But even at low volume, you should be able to recognize the bass. It's one of the solutions for that is to create or to put it into this type of compressor. So let's try something like this. Let's see how it works. I love this compressor. So now if I play it without the compressor, so it's a discontinuous, erratic. Now we have that sound of the bass coming in. This is the sound that you want to get with this type of compressor. Okay. Now, one of the other things that I like to do for the bass, depends on the context, is to add a little bit of chorus. Not because of an effect, but actually it makes the sound of the bass a little bit thicker, right? Without actually being able to perceive the chorus. So what I'm going to do is I will give you an example how this chorus works in this context. And as I said before, I'm not going to use a very deep chorus, something very small, and also in the ratio of the effects between the direct sound and the effect also is going to be very, very, very sparse. Listen to, let's listen to it first with this. Even less than that. This is without the chorus. This particular module for chorus also has a spread function which makes the bass much more present because it goes also on the sides. So that's how it works. So it's the effect here to use is a very small amount of chorus, very small, but in order just to thicken the sound. Then some minor adjustments for the equalization, and the reason I'm saying that is, first of all, I like to introduce a little bit of what we called dynamic equalization. The dynamic equalization is basically produces a boost or a drop or a cut on a certain frequency range based on the actual level that it's seeing. It's pretty much as a compressor, but it's actually applied to a certain range of frequencies. Very much like a multi-band compressor would work. So what I would like to do is, if I take this, for example, I would like to emphasize a little bit this 93 or 90 or 100 hertz here. I'm going to make it dynamic because I love the bass sound at the 100 hertz, but also sometimes it becomes a lot of bumminess, and it's actually creating a lot of issues in the low end. So this is the purpose why we use a dynamic setting for this, for which we are going to allow the 100 hertz frequencies to go through. For any bigger sounds or higher sound or louder sounds, for that, it will compress that in order to maintain steady sound. Okay, so it would be something like probably, let's start with this. Okay, and let's start to see how it, you see, it doesn't work all the time. It works only when there's a significant amount of load in the 100 hertz, but we keep that, and that's the beauty of having a dynamic equalizer. You can actually, you get away with the frequency you would like to have in your mix, but in order to not exceed that, you use that dynamic equalizers to allow that particular purpose. The other thing is I would like to have more presence in the bass. The part that is being, the presence in the bass is probably going to find it around 1500, something around probably 1700 hertz. Put it in the context of we will not create any issues with the rest of the instrument. We hear more the mid-range of the bass, that will actually the singing of the bass, right? You can hear that. This is too much, so I'm going here. Okay, so in the context of everything else, let's hear. You see how the bass is present, and it's actually steady, okay, and doesn't interfere with anything else. The last thing I would like to do is to use, and I like to do that very much, is to emulate passing the bass sound into a tube amplifier. So we can actually insert that module here, what we call the tube saturation. The tube saturation is pretty much it, adding harmonics and warmth. You will hear the difference in a second. Just to get in the driver here. Probably the input of the tube should be something at that sort, between 1 and 3, just to get the drive. You don't want to amplify anything here. Otherwise, the drive will not work. And you have this here, 10%, probably 10, 15%, it will be enough. Without. That's the tube amplifier simulator. Okay? So in the context of everything else, probably we need to go back here, get it back in volume, because we're increasing volume. And it sounds large, okay, and it doesn't actually conflict with anything else. This is one of the things that I'm going to do next with regards to the bass, is to create some sort of compression. Bass and the kick drum are working in similar frequencies, but the kick drum has only one frequency on that end, which is 80 hertz. And we want to make sure that both instruments are heard. And if we were not to do anything on compression of this bass, to take that into consideration, probably the kick will not be heard because of conflict or clashing with the electric bass. So if we take a look at that and put both instruments together, what you hear is basically it's not the low end of the kick drum, but it's actually the frequencies of resonances in 4000 hertz. But still, if you hear it well, you will hear that every time that the bass is around that frequency playing, the kick is actually out. So one of the things that can be done is what we call sidechain compression, that actually is being fed by the signal coming from the kick over to a compressor that is being added to the bass. So what I'm going to do here, just to do an example, is putting just the compressor, okay, and putting out in a ratio, in a middle ratio of about 4. A release time, probably I won't like to have it earlier, just not to conflict with it, because essentially the kick is actually not playing all the time. And the ratio, as I said before, probably we can get started with 4. And now the thing is, I'm going to start opening here the sidechain settings. In the sidechain settings, I would like to make sure that I am creating a way that the kick drum influence on the bass is maximum. And that is when we are actually putting the frequency and amplification on the frequency about that particular frequency of 80 hertz. Okay, so I artificially increase the signal into the compressor, and that signal will be used by the compressor to compress the bass, and that's how it's going to be regulated. It's like we have a knob, and every time that the kick is actually kicking, the bass is actually instantaneously decreasing in volume to do that and go back again. So by doing that, it's much easier to do that. So I can use probably, this is too large. I'm going to be probably on that. I need it only because of the frequency, nothing else. Now, what we're going to do is how we actually link those two together. It's basically pretty simple. We are going to create a send between the kick to the bass track for this compressor to be fed with. So if I come here and I use the sends button here, I looked at the electric bass audio, and that's the compressor I'm going to be using here. Okay. The send I'm going to send is just as is, 0 decibels, and the volume of the track, we're going to reconsider it once we complete that. But essentially, what this is how it works. Now I'm going to play both. This is the compressor on the bass, based on. You can see that the signal is basically attenuated when the kick is coming in. It has to be. This is I choose an external source, not the internal one, because it's not going to be sidechained with itself, but it's going to be external, fed from the kick itself. So every time, as you can see, I'm having this attenuation of the signal. So in the context of everything else,